Hi friend. Today we're going to talk about the Ring trilogy. The first Ring was adapted from the Japanese movie Ringu, which was an adaptation of a novel of the same name by Koji Suzuki. The novel is part of a trilogy as well. The books that followed it were Spiral and Loop, and for the most part are not attached to any of the American films, other than maybe a few things taken from Spiral for Rings. Each review will spoil parts of the previous film, so watch out for that. The Ring. Story of a cursed tape that kills anyone who watches it within 7 days. Journalist Rachel, who hears of the tape after her niece has watched it. Directed by Gore Verbinski, possibly most well known for Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, and its next two installments, Dead Man's Chest and At World's End, and as well as the lackluster The Lone Ranger. Written by Aaron Kruger. Kruger's had a pretty good career as a writer, penning 3 of the Transformer movies, Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, and Age of Extinction, as well as 2022's Top Gun Maverick, starring Naomi Watts, Martin Henderson, Brian Cox, and David Dorfman. Starting in the early 2000s, American studios began remaking Japanese horror movies. It's been quite a few years since I've seen the Japanese version, so it's hard for me really to compare the two. From what I remember, it's fairly close, but obviously Americanized. While the story does differ from the source material, it's an entertaining movie. Naomi Watts really does carry the film. This is not her first time in a horror flick, as she was in Children of the Corn 4, The Gathering. Obviously, she's much better here, given the material. And I think this movie shows that Martin Henderson is pretty underrated. He was great in Smoking Aces, and more recently in Ty West's X. While he's not a huge standout here, he still does great. Brian Cox only shows up for a couple scenes. He's great, but there's really not much other than just exposition scenes. And while rewatching this for the review, I forgot that Adam Brody and Amber Tamblyn had roles in this movie. Overall, it's a great creepy movie, and if you have the DVD, you can find the cursed tape in the menu, so if you're wanting to see that. The Ring 2. Directed by Hideo Nakata, the director of the original Ringu as well as its sequel Ringu 2, and written by Aaron Kruger, starring Naomi Watts, David Dorfman, and Simon Baker. This one takes place 6 months after the events of the first film. Watts' Rachel and her son Aiden now live in Astoria, Oregon. Nice place, by the way. It's also where The Goonies was filmed. She learns that a local teen has been killed after he had watched the tape. This flick feels longer than the first, even though it's only 5 minutes shorter. I feel like they spent a little more time in this movie focusing on Rachel and Aiden's relationship rather than the paranormal stuff, which I think should have been in the first film. It's not bad, I do like their scenes together, it just seems a little late. Like many have said, this isn't as good as the first one, but I think it's still pretty fun. Both Watts and Dorfman really shine here. I read that Naomi Watts didn't want to come back for this one, but was contractually obligated. She does well enough here, and it doesn't really seem like she's phoning it in, but her performance isn't as strong as it was in the first film. David Dorfman has a lot more to do in this than he did in the first movie. His performance does help with the uneasy feel throughout, and I think he did a great job. Simon Baker's kind of given a bit of a backseat in this. What scenes he does have are pretty good, but there's really not much there to work with. Like with Brian Cox in the first film, a few bigger stars, Elizabeth Perkins and Sissy Spacek, come in for a few scenes here and there. Perkins' character is the one who evaluates Aiden after some strange things begin to happen to him. She doesn't have much screen time, but she does great with what little she has. Spacek plays Evelyn, who is Samara's birth mother, and per usual, she's great. All in all, this isn't a bad sequel. It adds some nice things to the lore of the universe, introducing characters that are pretty important. I do think the thing that holds it back, as it has less of a creepy vibe than the first film. But overall, I feel like a lot of the negatives are just nitpicks. It's a pretty good story, but it does lack the scary elements that the first had. I did feel a little let down by the ending. It felt a little rushed and unsatisfactory wrap-up for Rachel and Aiden. Rings, directed by Javier Gutierrez, written by David Luca, Jacob Estes, and Akiva Goldsman, starring Matilda Lutz, Alex Rowe, and Johnny Galecki. The mysterious cursed tape is back, and a group of college students call themselves the Seven, and they watch the tape, and before their 7 days are up, they have people called Tails watch it. The opening feels more like a Final Destination flick than a Ring movie. It's fun, sure, but it's just weird for this series. I guess I saw this when it came out. I just completely forgot about it, which surprised me, as this one is interesting pretty much right off the bat. This flick explores something that was only mentioned in the opening of the second film, the group of people who pass on the tape to others saving themselves from Samara. Matilda Lutz plays Julia, whose boyfriend Holt, played by Alex Rowe, is part of an underground group calling themselves the Seven. Lutz carries the film. She's sort of like Watts from the first movie, and she spends most of the movie trying to figure out more about Samara. Johnny Galecki plays Gabriel Brown, a college biology professor who finds the copy of the cursed tape when he buys an old VCR. I figured he'd be like Brian Cox or Sissy Spacek in the previous films, and only be in a scene or two, since this was around the height of his role on The Big Bang Theory. Vincent D'Onofrio has a small cameo, and like with his role in Sinister in 2012, he provides an exposition dump. Apparently the release of the movie was delayed for like a year or so, which explains many of the dates in the movie being 2015. What I do like about this movie is it brings the creep factor back into the universe, where the second film was more of a mystery wrapped in a horror film. This is straight up horror with a hint of mystery thrown in, much like the first movie. For the most part, this ignores much of what happens in the second movie. Sissy Spacek's character is sort of rewritten, and this one feels more like a do-over to replace the second film. It uses some of the story elements, like Samara's mother and her trying to come back to life. If I had to rank them, I'd say obviously The Ring is in the first spot, and Ring 2 is probably in last place, with Ring sitting in the middle. The second film felt like it was kind of riding the wave of success of the first film, and just wasn't planned out as well as the other two. If you were to skip it, it wouldn't be a deterrent to the enjoyment of the movies. But I do recommend all three. Have you seen these movies? Which one's your favorite, or did you even like any of them? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.
Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, check out one of these videos.